We're live? We're live! Welcome to the July 7th edition of Ouya Dev Support Office Hours. It's July the 7th? The 7th of July, 2014, and
7/7/14.
Mm-hmm.
In the month of July.
There's some mathematical.
I didn't even think of
mayhem
that.
going on. Yeah, you should have thought about
Hey,
it.
you have to watch Jim Carrey, the numbers thing. There's probably some
Oh, 20.
revelation there.
Well, 23, Tim. That's Tim Graupmann, everybody.
Hey, haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen 23?
No.
It's cool. It recently came out like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Alex Doherty. I'm just giving you poo, Tim. My name's Bob, from a bunker somewhere in the Culver City area. Mr. Jared Yeager.
Hello, everyone. I apologize for eating. I was getting hangry.
I just finished a snack myself. You were in Culver City?
I was in Culver City yesterday.
What?
I didn't have time to stop, though.
Oh.
Passing on.
Did you not take one of my restaurant recommendations when you were in Culver City?
We took the recommendation of In-N-Out.
In-N-Out is always a good choice.
Yeah.
Joining us is Alan.
Alan Purdy.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, I work with Tim on the indie project Sector 13 Space Combat Multiplayer. Compatible with Ouya.
Cool.
Nice.
Sweet. Phil Royer popped in the Q&A, and he's saying 2332. Whatever that means.
The movie we were talking about 2 seconds ago.
Welcome, Phil.
No, we weren't. Were we? Phil. Is he not on Skype? Maybe not.
He is, but he said he's, what did he say? Oh, he's watching. He's got to do some work today.
That's fine.
He's got a baby.
We should kick it off.
And then me. Hi, I'm Tim.
Kick it off.
Mm-hmm.
With the
That's
segment that we like to call Derp with Doherty,
Oh, you want to learn something
where
new?
Alex talks about the submission front lines of Ouya game submissions, and
He also talks in a normal rhythm, like standard human speech. No, the main thing that I've seen the last couple of weeks, especially with Mojo now official, if you release an update for your game and select it on Mojo, for all future updates, you should make sure that you leave that checkbox selected. Otherwise, folks on Mojo will not get your update. So it's a little trickier now with two platforms. But basically, in the submission process, it's going to be on Ouya, and then there's a box that you check that says, do you want this to go on Mojo? And once it's been approved, you should leave it approved. Because if anything goes wrong, we'll just reject the update. But if you submit it and it passes and you haven't checked the Mojo box, then that whole segment of the audience won't get the update for your game. So it's just a new thing to keep in mind now that we have two platforms available.
So, and then when there'll be more platforms available,
There will be more checkboxes.
will there?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hopefully there'll be one of those boxes above that just checks all the boxes.
All platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I
that's
could
it.
do some screen sharing of these things you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings us seamlessly into the second bit of our show, where Mr. Tim Graupmann talks about some things
Okay, and you guys will have to guide me through this process too a
in
little
a
bit.
segment that we like to call Grok with Graupmann.
Ah, yes. All right, so we have
Take it
this.
away, Tim.
Got this devs.ouya.tv thing, and we always talk about the developer portal, and this is where you get your. I'm not signed in. Okay, hang on. Gotta sign in. Signing in. Okay, so first you sign in, because I guess you'll have to do that too. Okay, and I've signed in. Awesome. Okay, so you have your developer unique identifier here. So all the examples, no matter what engine you're using, use that in your game. And this is basically the portal entry point where you're going to set up your games to start the publish process on Ouya, and also set up your apps for in-app purchasing and look at your analytics. And there's a link to download the ODK, or there's another place actually I should link to where you can get in-app purchase examples. But the first thing you see is this developer UID, and that when you use that in your game and you do in-app purchases of your own game, that prevents you from being charged, so you can test receipts and undo the purchase and test receipts, checking again and make sure all that stuff is working properly. Okay, so there's all these different tabs. Games is where you start the publish process, and then there's products for setting up in-app purchases. This is analytics for nice graphs and things. And then the docs and the forums. And then over here, it will be your user, and you can set up your developer info and your game profile, I guess. So let's see what that looks like. It forgot me. Okay, hold on. I'm going to sign in again.
Impressive.
Once you're all signed in, then it's all seamless. There's different sections in here. I'll check remember me.
I'll never forget.
Okay. So that brought me over to the gamer section. Here, I'll do it again. Okay. Oh, I see. It's asking me to like change. This is where you can edit your username and password and okay. So you've got like a profile, and then there's the payment info. Oh, great. Lots of good stuff there. But yeah, I guess it has my credit card on file and current balance, and this is where you would enter any voucher codes. All right, let's back out of there. And developer info.
What was Alex talking about? Submission. I guess you have to submit it.
Yeah. Okay, I think you have to do a lot of this stuff before you start your submission, though. So
yeah. Unless it's a free game, and then there's less to do.
Yeah.
But if you want a product, there's a lot of it that's key.
Okay, so developer info, that's where you set up your developer profile, and I think that, okay, so this is where you'd set up your description for your company, which when your game title's in Discover, like your publisher is listed there, and then you can drill down and see details about all the apps that you've released, and that's where this description would come out of. And then you have your agreements that you sign, like payment info and tax documents for when you sell a bunch of games that eventually want to get paid, so you'll fill that kind of things out. And then when all that stuff's done, and really before you do your initial entry, you don't necessarily have to have all the banking info set up before you enter the submission process. So, then you can go to this Games tab, and here's where you can create your different games. So I'll just go in and I'll add a game. Okay, so it's saying, hey, I want to do these agreement things. So you click on it and you say, yes, I agree to the terms. Accept the terms. Okay, and now I should be able to add a game. Cool. All right, and this is the new game part where you think of a title for a game and you give it an Android package name. And this is definitely important on the code side because you want it to match the package name here so that the decryption and in-app purchase stuff is all going to link up properly. So for a title, in the last episode we talked about, was it rabbits or bunnies? So like Bunny Wars?
No, it was like Piano Zombies or something.
Oh, there was that one too. Okay. Piano Zombie.
That wasn't it, was it?
I don't even.
Oh, that was earlier or later. I was doing the pointy ear thing, turned it kind of white, and it looked like.
Oh
a
yeah,
bunny.
you were making your furry game.
Oh.
Yeah. Furry bunnies. That's what it was. Okay, so Piano Zombies. I entered my title. Now I need a Android package name, so it's usually like com.yourcompany. Or and then the the name of the title that you're going to release. So Piano Zombies. And each of your games is going to have a unique package identifier. This, once you create it, you can't change it. So you either have to like delete it or and make a new one. So, but this package name isn't really visible other than just to track it internally. So if you spell it wrong and you've already published and you want to change it later, it's not so important that you can always change the title. And that's possible. You can email support if you wanted to change it in the future. Okay, and then you can say if this is an exclusive or not title. And you can put in expected release date. And then if you say yes, that actually displays in another place. So if I go to ouya.tv/games, that will appear over here and in the coming soon section. So before you actually release, you'd be able to see some stuff over here. And if I click on House of the Lost, that looks cool. Oh, it's just saying coming soon. It'll show your like thumbnail and the different categories that you've selected. So I'll show you that next. Okay, and then there's a few different checkboxes that you read and check. Like this first box is like saying, yes, I know about the safe area. So I'll make sure that my game complies with the interface guidelines. And yes, it will comply with the content review guidelines, and you can click that. So this one actually talks about the safe area and like what size your icon should be, that kind of thing. And
what's the safe area?
Okay, so if I go to the content review guidelines, there's some nice pictures here. Basically, you want to have all your important text inside like 5% of the edge of the screen, because all TVs aren't made the same, and somebody might be playing your game in the future and they can't see anything that's going on because their lives or their scores outside the safe area. And we have a thing in the terminal you can turn on where it adds this green overlay for you, and that helps you, like, you can play through your game and make sure that everything is showing up properly and fits within that safe area. And you can turn that on like while your game is running and turn it off without having to exit your game. So you can test for that. And it's what the submission team uses to make sure that your stuff fits in too. So you'll be using the same thing that submission is using. Okay, so that's the safe area. Oh, and then at the end of this, it's like, okay. Well, towards the end, there's the part about the icons, about what size they should be, where you should put them. And kind of where you should put them will depend on the engine, of course, but they're commonly in this kind of structure. So, you know, and if you can't get your icon to display, just let me know and I'll help you through it. Okay, so I know about that. I'm certified, or I certify that I have the rights to publish this, I guess, and I didn't like grab somebody else's app and I'm publishing that. Okay, so then we just hit create. Okay, and then we get to the next screen. And it's a good idea to enter your game engine just so we know like what people are on, so we know where to like focus our support. And so I'm going to use Unity. This is where you detect you put in the genres that will display in the Discover section. And Alex, how many genres should they pick? Like, I'm thinking 2 usually, but is there recommended?
No more than 3.
Okay. So you go and like, okay, Piano Zombies, that would be, it's almost like third-person perspective.
No, dude, it's first person.
Is it? Well, it depends on. Okay. Well, I'd want to have it multiplayer and.
Are we the piano or the zombie in this?
We're the hand.
The zombies run at you, and you kind of play piano.
Oh, we're the hands. I forgot. Now I remember.
Yeah, and each zombie is a note.
I guess a sim. Okay, and you can change these afterwards, so it's not super important to get the genres at first. Okay, and then you put in a little description. So, okay, and then you can have a shorter description. Okay, and then you can say free to try or not. Is that how they do a premium game? So if I just say no, they have to. It'll be premium and free to try.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of gives a description of what each thing means there in the right in that gray text.
Cool.
So basically, if you say no, it's not free to try, then it's a paid game. And then another thing that confuses a lot of folks, in-app purchases. That's like if you can buy skins for your character or gems or anything like that, is an in-app purchase. If you actually have a gate in your game or whatever, where it'll stop the game and say, hey, you've played enough of the free-to-try portion, now buy it. That doesn't actually count as an in-app purchase, which is described there on the right.
Gotcha. So this is in-app, like if you have donations, consumables,
exactly,
or other entitlements for upgrades for like earn XP faster, get gold faster, run faster, all that kind of thing.
All that kind of stuff. So it's definitely has
I'm
been.
gonna have to have that.
Cool.
Okay. And then they have the promoted product, which I can't fill in yet because I haven't created an app product yet. But that makes it so that they can buy it in the Discover section. Because sometimes they'll have to play the game and then find where to purchase it. And if you have a promoted product, it will show on the details page as a buy button. And then content rating. What's the age before they can see zombies?
I'd say for this game it's probably 12 plus because it's not super violent. It's just kind of silly.
Okay.
But you are killing stuff.
Yeah. Okay, and then you can have a support email and a website. I guess I'll just put in my.
Also, you should make sure your support email is a real email as well, because if people want a refund or we run into some technical thing down the line that we get a lot of gamers who like find a crash at a specific point in the game, we can email you your support email. So
Cool.
You can differentiate it from your main account email that way.
All right, and it looks like so we support multiple video URLs. So all as many as I add, there'll be a video.
Yeah, and theoretically, I've seen two. I've seen two work. I don't know. I haven't tried more than that myself.
Okay, and it has to be Vimeo for now.
Currently, it does have to be Vimeo.
Okay, notes for reviewer. This game.
Hello.
What lies are you telling now? A lot of times too, for people who are releasing a beta or something on the platform, the notes for reviewer is a good spot to say, hey, this is a beta version of the game. It's not perfect yet. Here's some things to watch out for. Or if you submit an update to your game, you can put in notes as well that say, hey, I fixed this, this, and this, and then we can actually verify it. So it's a very handy field right there.
Cool. Like also need to coordinate marketing on 7/8.
Yeah.
Or something. Okay. Now then there's game binary. So this is where you upload the APK for your game. Make sure that you've signed it with your key store before you upload it so that it all matches.
Yeah, and we're working on a new thing. I don't know. I don't think it's been gone live yet, but a lot of folks have published games with a debug key store.
Yeah.
And we're putting in something that will automatically detect a debug key store and not allow you to upload it until you've customized it to your build.
Okay, so some bad things. If you use a debug key store or you sign with a different key store or something,
Mhm.
it means that users won't retain their saves, which could be bad, right? Like, they play your game for like 6 hours, they unlock like 12 levels of XP, and then they do an update and all their progress is lost.
Yeah, actually, even worse than that, they won't even know there's an update if your new version has a different key store than the old version. They'll have to manually delete the debug one and then download the new one, which will, in essence, delete all their save data.
Yeah. So when you make a key store, email it to yourself, back it up so you don't lose it, because it's pretty important. Yeah, I see that other devices thing you were talking about.
Yep.
So as we add more devices, you just check the box. So let's say like I published it with that not checked. It passes review. And then like after it's already published, can I hit that and sneak it past review without having you guys review it? Or do I have to resubmit?
You have to resubmit.
Oh. Cool.
Nice try, Tim.
Also, if you submit with it checked, we will, and your game is already out. Like if you have your version of this game already up, and now your update, you check the box. If it does not pass on a Mojo checklist, we'll reject both platforms because everyone on Mojo will have access to the old version as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. If it's a brand new game and you have it checked, we'll pass the Ouya version and reject the Mojo version potentially if there's a problem. It's just older games, like the 800 plus we have already. We'll have to work on both when they submit an update. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, and then the next box, screenshots. So here we can upload screenshots. They need to be so they have to be 720p screenshots. Oh, just JPEG 720p.
Mm-hmm.
Can they be bigger, or they have to be at least that size, or?
I don't know. I would recommend just making it that size. But you could. I don't know if a 1081 would make a difference. It's probably minimum because it'll fill the screen if you go full screen on the game details.
All right. And you can just drag them over there. So that's kind of handy. I'm sure it'll show red text if it's wrong. All right, I'm going to save what I did so far. Okay, so it's detected that I left some fields incomplete, but it still let me save it. So I can fill out the rest of it out later. Now, some important things that I see already are, now that I've created the game entry, I can download the signing key, which I'll put into the engine. And that allows the in-app purchase to work because it's used for decryption. And so in your game, you want the signing key, and I'll go back in here. You want the package name to match. And let's see if I go back out to the Ouya devs, and you need your developer UID to match. So all three pieces have to match identically. Otherwise, you're going to get decryption errors because it's three-part authentication. So you want all three parts. And you want the key store to match too. So I guess there's 4 parts. Okay, so this is going to sit in here until I add some things. I'm going to need to create a product now so I can have in-app purchases. So I go on to products, and now I can make a new product. Oh. All right, payment info. Can I just save it blank? Okay, can't be blank. I think before you finally publish, you can put zeros. So
Yeah, in order to have a product, you're going to need accurate information, as far as I know. Otherwise, at least banking information.
At least like once you need to submit it,
Yeah.
it has to be filled in. But if you're just doing testing, it shouldn't be required.
Yeah. Actually, I would recommend, yeah, I guess if you're testing, it's okay, but make sure to change it, because we've had folks who put in incorrect banking information and then started complaining that they weren't getting any money, and it's because it was going to the wrong, or it was getting rejected by the bank because the information was wrong.
Right.
So you want to make sure that's accurate.
Okay, so you download this form, you're going to fill it out and then resubmit it. Downloads. Okay, submit. And now, okay, so now I should be able to do a new product. All right, so here's where we can do our entitlements and consumables. So, any tips on naming this stuff? I know, like, if I have 5 games and I use the same name for every game, is that going to be a problem?
Yeah. There's functionality that would theoretically allow you to use the same product on multiple games, but the best practice is to say, this is Zombie Piano dash full game unlock, just to keep it clear, because also if you run into a problem and you have multiple games or multiple products, we're going to need to be able to find it on our end, and if it's just a generic name, then it's just going to delay our ability to help out.
Okay. And looks like there's quite a few different price. Look at that. I didn't know we went as high as $1,000 for a title. I think really realistically though, and we'll have to talk to the server guys, it should only go to $99.
Yeah.
I don't think we allow anything higher than that. Yeah, this will be a $9 game. And here's where we pick the entitlement or consumables.
Mm-hmm.
So entitlements are like full games unlocks, or like get experience twice as fast, that kind of thing. Where consumables are like gems, stuff you buy multiple times. So you can only buy an entitlement once. You can buy consumables more than once for things like donations, gems, and entitlements show in your receipts where consumables won't.
Also, an entitlement will last through an uninstall and a reinstall, where a consumable will not. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Okay. And it looks like you can have a custom receipt message.
Yeah, these are cool, because especially if you have multiple games, which a lot of our developers do, is like, thanks for buying this game, check out my other games, and then it gives them a little more info on what you've been making.
Okay, cool. So this will create the product. Okay. And once it's created, I can go and edit the amounts. Okay, so let's say I publish my game and it's $1. If I change the price of my game, do I have to rerun it through submission, or can I change the price at any time?
You can change the price at any time for a product. Okay. However, if you want, let's say you, instead of 99 cents, you made your game $2.99, and you wanted to put it on sale, the best way to do that would be to talk to us, because we can automate everything for you, and it'll actually change the banner on your game, and it'll indicate that it's on sale, as opposed to just quietly behind the scenes changing the price. And it'll also allow us to feature your game when it's on sale, so people know to pick it up.
Now, Alex, if a developer wanted to change their screenshots, let's say if they did want to just do a sale on their own, Do they have to resubmit, or can they now update screenshots without a submission?
No, if they're just if a dev wants to do a new screenshot because they've changed the price of the game or whatever, it's going to require a full submission. So.
Yeah, and that's the main reason why you'd want to run the sale through us thing. Otherwise, you have to time your own tile art to a resubmission, and when you change the price, which is just a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
All right, and now that I'm editing, it looks like the promoted product came up. So here's where I can say this entitlement is for piano zombies. And what that means is on the details page, they'll be able to buy it before they even launch the game. They can still launch the game, but they'll be able to buy it without navigating into the game and finding the store in there.
It's better visibility for the purchase.
All right, and I can update the product. And actually, I noticed the bug here. I think it cut off the T on product.
Oh, the button's just cut off.
Yeah. Okay, so now products. I can see my zombie piano full game. I can see the price. Show. Interesting. What's the difference between show and edit? Okay, so there's like a look at it without editing it, and then you have edit where you could potentially change something. You can edit your messages and descriptions and update the product. Okay, so if I go back to games now and I edit the piano zombies here, okay, so the promoted product is set here, so I didn't have to do anything. It's already linked with that ad product, or with that entitlement product. Now, I was seeing a version thing. Let's see. Maybe you have to actually upload before you can populate the version. Okay, so I would add a screenshot, add a game binary, save it, and then all this red text would go away. And then the action here, oh, here we go. One of my other titles here. I can click submit for review, and then that'll go on to the submission team. Are you muted, Alex? Did you say something?
Oh yeah, no, we were just talking about Phil said don't forget to show off the new analytics, but you probably don't have any analytics for this account.
Yeah, I can open it for something else, although I don't have enough sales in there to be interesting.
Cool. Well, maybe we'll be able to go look at someone else's analytics one day.
Yeah.
We can check it out.
Okay. So yeah, then you hit submit for review. It goes to Alex and those guys, and they review it. And when they're done, you get an email that's like detailed for if it failed, like a detailed description about what was wrong and what to fix. Or you get accepted, and then you go back here and it says ready for publish, and you just hit publish, and then it's in the store. So just because it passes review doesn't mean it's automatically going to be in the store. You can pick when it goes live and when it publishes.
Yeah, exactly. And so here's a question from Matthew. Can a dev accidentally mark an IAP as a consumable but label it to the user as an entitlement, such as buy this game, but then on the next install it asks for payment again? Sometimes that can happen, but it won't actually be the situation that you're talking about, because if it says buy this game now, our reviewers will actually check that it's an entitlement. But sometimes what happens with some of the older games, like more than 6 months ago, a game may not check for receipts completely properly when it's launched. So if you uninstall and reinstall, it would prompt you for a payment a second time, even though you own it, because the game hasn't checked with our server. And sometimes games have like a reset my purchases, and it'll recognize, oh, now I have it. But for the past 6 months or so, we've been pretty hardcore about rejecting games that don't check for receipts properly.
And then one thing I'm noticing, I initially set the entitlement, and it's actually, I can't change it now. So if you wanted to change it to a consumable, you're going to have to make a new product with a new identifier.
Yep, and they'll have to update you
for that. Yeah.
So. Yeah, so basically, if someone says, hey, this is an entitlement, but they marked it as a consumable, ideally we would catch that in the review process and have them fix it.
Anyways, yeah, Philip knows. You go here and like awesome charts and graphs when you have sales. And also you can download like your purchase history, your purchase history, your download history, and those are CSV files that you can graph in Excel. And I'm sure we'll add cool graphs for everything eventually. And then of course, check out the docs. So we have, we support more engines than this, but this is all the engines that I've added some documentation for. And of course, you know, Unity and Monogame and Corona are going to have more documentation than some of the others because we've been using it longer. And also, like for this show, we talk about like we'll put it in the show notes, and definitely check out the support button near the top. And basically, after we finish these shows, I put it into a doc and then add the time indexes, so you can click on this, whatchamacallit, the show notes and the times, and it'll open up the video right to those times. And then any tools we talk about, I have a link above here.
Bless you.
You can go right to it.
Did I destroy everyone's eardrums on that one?
No.
I was frantically searching for the mute button.
I just felt spray through the microphone.
And then, of course, you know, our community is pretty active. If you hop over to the forums. Okay, here we go. So, general development. If I go in here, there's a category for each game engine that I run into. And if you're using the game engine that's not listed here, let me know, and I'll add a subforum for you guys so that you can talk just about your engine. So let's say you're doing Adobe Air. You can talk to developers that are just talking about Adobe Air. Or if you're on Unity, let's see if I have any unread. Here we go. So it looks like I have to help this guy. I don't automatically get notifications for new posts. I need to set that up, but I try and star you eventually, and then I'll see when you comment on your existing threads. I guess I only have one unknown message here. Here we go. So I go in here, trying to develop for the Ouya platform, ran into some problems. He's using Ouya everywhere. Followed every step. The field asked for the NDK. Okay, so it looks like he's having a problem building NDK. And if I zoom in here, well, this error here is saying there's a problem in the layout file. So that's a slightly different problem. But with NDK, it does not like spaces in your path. So when you make your Unity project, just make sure there's no spaces in your project name or in your username. Otherwise, you have to put it like on the C drive and like a Unity projects with no spaces. And I'll be adding a warning message that comes up that says, hey, the panel detects that you have spaces in your path. So, and then that should get you through compiling the NDK. With Unity lately, Google has changed where the zip align binary is for packaging APKs, and so you might see that error, which means you have to make Unity work until they release a patch for the next version. Copy it to the platform tools or to the SDK tools folder so that Unity can compile. And after we're done here, I'll email Unity about it and maybe get it into the next version, which will be either 4.6 or like 4.5.2. And there's some other engines too, like if you have HTML5 game, I've been wrapping these in Chromium so that you get accelerated WebGL and accelerated video decoding, that kind of thing. It works pretty good, so I can help you with that.
Hey, real quick, we got a couple more questions. Another one from Matthew. Is there going to be any way to remove a game that you don't actually own from your purchases in the play menu? Matthew, I'm not 100% sure what you mean. We have a new section in play called purchases, and that would be if you own the entitlement, but it's not installed, it'll show up there. So if you want to email me, just alex@ouya.tv with a specific game or what the situation is, I can see if I can figure it out with you.
Yeah, that is a new category in the play section. I think it's just called purchases.
Yeah,
you can see your whole purchase history.
Yeah, it just means that entitlement is credited to your account. So there shouldn't be something you don't own there. But yeah, and here's another good question, Tim. In the ODK, is there a way to detect the controller of the other devices, Mojo, for example, your game is playing on? That way the buttons reflect the controller you're using.
Yeah, so again, it depends on your engine, but I've exposed the controller name. So even though it's like automatically remapping to an Ouya controller scheme, you still have access to the controller name, which is the friendly name, and then you can change your UI a little bit to say, okay, show this set of buttons. There's also a way to get the button images on each console itself, but that doesn't mean, like if you have an Xbox 360 controller, you can get the 360 controller images. It's just to get the Ouya controller images when you're on an Ouya console, or the Mojo controller images when you're on the Mojo.
Gotcha.
So, but that's not stopping you from adding your own images and pulling that up. It's just part of the built-in API.
Cool. Yes.
Okay, and I think that's all those.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, I was doing some animation stuff this week. I can show you a quick thing. Now I can do animated characters that smile. So, learned about morph maps and blend shapes. So if we go into views, I had been doing these sliders here, and I realized that these are actually blend shapes. And I can get these blend shapes into Unity now. If so, you do export, and then when you export to OBJ, it loses the morph maps and blend shapes, but I figured out how to recover those. So they're called blend shapes in views, and if I hop over to Moto and zoom on the face, over here they're called morph maps. And I have a video about how to pass these over in the Moto. Here we go. And then in Unity, they're called blend shapes again. So here's a character over in Unity and on the mesh. So you have a skin mesh render if your blend shapes have made it to Unity. And here's the, if I zoom in on his face. Okay. Let's see. I like to lock it so I don't see the wireframe here. There we go. So the blend shapes, there we go. It's more drastic if I go from 0 to 100. But the cool thing about blend shapes in Unity is you have these sliders and you can mix and match them together. So if you want them angry but with big eyes, you can mix and match them, allowing for more character customization, which is super handy if you have like a character editor. A lot of those blend shapes even affect like how big their muscles are and whether their mouth is open. So I can have him angry, but also open his mouth and make that part of the animation. And I did something kind of cool. So with Mixamo, I was able to animate it, and I passed my blend shapes through the animation. So now when it's playing, so there he is. He's walking around and jumping around. And if I attach the main camera to his head, there we go. And then, okay, if I get the camera a little closer to his face. There we go. So he's animated, he's moving around, and I still can adjust these morph maps. And now he's like doing weird things, but he's happy. Let's see. There's small eyes. There we go. And close his mouth and make him goofy. There we go. Because you need a goofy face if you're doing this. All right. So I've got a whole video. It's about 20 minutes of my process from start to finish of how I exported those blend shapes with the facial expressions through Mixmo, animated the guy, and then brought him into Unity. And the process is super specific. You have to follow the steps in the same way so that everything comes together in Unity. And yeah, so you can have a jumping animated guy that does facial expressions. So you could have him like walk over to something, pick something up, have a smile. It makes your characters more emotional so that you engage the user even more. Just make them happy.
Sweet. Well, now would be a good time to pop over to Jared, if Jared's there. See if
Yo,
it's relevant news.
relevant news. A few things for this week. You mentioned Phil Royer. He will be having a blog takeover on Ouya.tv and his own playlist going up tomorrow, which is super cool. So if you want to read about Super Pixelo and everything that he's been doing, make sure to check that out. We're also going to be launching the Sandbox tomorrow on Ouya, so the first time it'll be available on console, so make sure to check that out tomorrow as well. And a few other fun updates going on this week on the storefront. Also, GamerX, so you can see Bob and crew at the Intercontinental Hotel in beautiful downtown San Francisco, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Kelly, I believe, will also be speaking at the event. We'll have Duck Game, Read Only Memories, and other fun games going on there as well. Again, as always, hit me up for any kind of sales, and Bob and myself, if you want to partake in a potential blog takeover or playlist on the storefront. Also wanted to address if there's any remaining questions regarding the very limited subscription tests that we did last week. I know some devs may not have, I guess, we checked the open rate. Not everyone, I guess, looked at the dev newsletter that we sent out. I just wanted to let everyone know again, if you did not look over it, it is a very limited test that was made available for one day only. So it's a very small sample size of our users who are participating in that right now, so there's no open enrollment ongoing for that. And I think the biggest question devs had was, how are they getting paid? You will be continued to be paid as normal. So someone who's a subscriber, they will see all games that are, I believe, under $30 priced as $0. But as soon as they enable that entitlement or purchase it for $0, you will be paid as normal for your game. So basically nothing changes for you. If anything, you may even see an increase in sales from the subscribers gobbling up all the different games that are on the Discover Store right now. So right now we're just reviewing the data that we're getting from that, seeing what works best for our developers and players, and yeah, right now we're just analyzing and checking things out. And if there are any other additional questions that you have, please hit us up at office hours at ouya.tv, and we'll be happy to address them. Cool.
So any subscribers, you want them to try your game right now, because then you get paid, right?
That is true. That is true. Yeah, I've seen some good sales numbers for quite a few of our games from those subscribers.
And if you're a subscriber, you want to download every game, right?
If you've got external hard drive set up with you support, or one of the 16, when we have more of those, we'll definitely let you know when those are ready. I think that's everything that's fit the print on my end.
Whoops, sorry. There's a question from Joe. I think Alex is looking. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Oh, so is there any information on Ouya Part 2? No, not yet. Ezra asks, I'm curious why you use JPEG for screenshots when adding screenshots for your game. It seems like PNG are more of a standard.
Yeah, I don't know either. We use PNG for like tile images and all that stuff, so I'm not sure why we have it set to JPEG.
Both would work, but I suspect that JPEG might be file size smaller than a PNG.
Oh, that's what Phil Royer just said. PNGs have higher file size. Thanks, Phil.
Does that depend on the number of colors in the image, though?
Yeah, well, if you have a PNG which is mostly empty background, then the PNG will be smaller versus the JPEG that we can get into details, but JPEGs use fractal compression, and
I know what that means.
yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It's like the Mandelbrot-Julia fractals. Like, it finds the closest fractal that represents a certain area.
Fractals.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah. Life is just fractals, really.
So if you watch that Disney movie Frozen, like they had a lot of fractals in that, and a song about fractals.
Tons of fractals, man.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for walking us through the dev portal, by the way, Tim.
Yeah.
We're out of time.
What?
Yeah. So
Let's
How
buy
did that
some
happen?
more.
we need a rapid fire food game. Ready to go.
Oh, I ate tri-tip, lemon herb chicken,
Oh.
kale, strawberry with a lemon
Go.
dressing,
Oh.
walnut spinach with
What?
basil or a
Get out of
vinaigrette,
here.
balsamic vinaigrette
Okay.
with some blue cheese on it,
Uh-huh.
a rice pilaf with mushrooms.
It's coming out of the gate
This is
strong.
like-
This is like a 7-course meal.
It was testing food for potential future wedding endeavors.
Whose wedding?
My own.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, ladies and gents, but he's
off the market.
engaged.
Sorry.
Oh, the big announce.
Yep.
It's going to be up all over the blogs.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I just ate until I couldn't eat anymore. Plus 2 different
Which is
kinds
what
of
you
pie.
do anyway.
A blueberry blackberry pie plus an apple pie.
Oh, Alex, you're bringing it.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
So, Jared, do you have an answer to that?
I'm gonna try to do my best here. So this weekend in Culver City, brunch at East Borough, really awesome Vietnamese place. Starting off with Vietnamese French toast with strawberry compote, sweetened condensed milk, brown sugar, whipped cream, Saigon cinnamon with scrambled eggs, followed by basically this Vietnamese crepe, which is beer battered with turmeric, crepe with Dungeness crab, shiitake mushrooms, bean sprouts, lettuce cups.
How does he remember all these?
What kind of
I got my menu up here.
Did you did?
I'm reading it right off the menu that I have from the website. Then I also had a Thai green lemonade tea that was also very good.
Tim?
All right, I had Lake Tai water. As I was kayaking, I was drinking a lot of water from Lake Tai. It was great. If it gets nice out, I'm going to go back and have some more Lake Tai water.
Are you supposed to drink out of lakes? I don't think you're supposed to.
Sure. Isn't that how you get like that amoeba thing that like goes up in your head and stuff? Or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Not intentional, of course.
Oh. Oh, man. I had some gross food because I was driving a bunch.
Weren't you camping?
I was camping, so we had like some barbecue and stuff, but it doesn't. I don't even want to play with you guys. I'm gonna give it to Ouya Central TV. Says Alex won.
Yay.
So
Well done, Alex.
you're in second, Jared.
That's fine. Did Alan get to play?
Oh, Gnome Dome. Alan,
What's going on?
What's the best thing you ate last week?
Best thing I ate last week. Probably some chicken curry.
Okay, good, a solid showing, but I'm still giving the win to Alex. Congratulations.
Yes.
Well done, sir. Well
Oh,
done.
I feel so good.
Man. On that note, let's say goodbye to everyone. Alan at Gnome Dome, Jared somewhere in Culver City, Mr. Timothy Graupmann.
Hey,
You need a subhead for your title, Tim. Timothy Graupmann.
yeah, you have to show me.
Ouya
Next
guy.
And then be sure to check out the show notes, which will have links to. I'll put the links to the developer portal, and then some of the videos I did, and a link to this video. It'll show in the support section.
Awesome. And Phil Royer says, yes, color-dependent PNGs are great when you need transparency. And on that note, yeah, adieu.
Adieu.
Links.
Adieu.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.